President Buhari presents 16.39 trillion naira 2022 budget proposal to joint session of the National Assembly. Experts and legislators evaluate proposal. Just weeks to the Anambra governorship election, President Buhari receives Governor Willie Obiano with rise in insecurity dominating discussions. Also on political update today, PDP's 94th NEC meeting adopts zoning committee's report, national chairman to come from the north. And APC Rebirth group harps on internal party democracy. We have these and more on the program. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. A 16.39 trillion naira budget of economic growth and sustainability has been proposed for expenditure by the federal government for 2022. President Muhammadu Buhari presented the appropriations bill before the joint session of the National Assembly Thursday.
It was a warm and befitting welcome for President Muhammadu Buhari in the hallowed chamber of the National Assembly as he formally presents the 2022 Appropriations Bill for consideration and approval. The budget proposal, the last expected to be fully implemented by this administration, is predicated on conservative oil price benchmark of $57 per barrel, oil production estimate of 1.88 million barrels per day, an exchange rate of 410 naira 15 kobo to $1, a projected GDP growth rate of 4.2%, as well as an inflation rate of 13%. The budget is made up of a capital expenditure of 5.35 trillion naira, non-debt recurrent cost of 6.85 trillion naira, personnel cost of 4.11 trillion naira, 3.61 trillion naira for debt service, and a sinking fund of 292.71 billion naira.
Our target over the medium term is to grow our revenue to GDP ratio from about 8% currently to 15% by 2025. At that level of revenue, the debt service to revenue ratio will cease to be worrying. Put simply, we do not have a debt sustainability problem, but a revenue challenge which we are determined to tackle.
As the Buhari presidency proposes, the 2022 budget is expected to be funded by 10.13 trillion naira oil, non-oil, and other revenues, while a deficit of 6.26 trillion naira will be financed by new borrowings, privatization process, and drawdowns on loans secured for specific development projects.
Some have expressed concern over our resort to borrowing to finance our fiscal gaps. They are right to be concerned. However, we believe that the debt level of the federal government is still within sustainable limits. Borrowing at specific strategic projects and can be verified publicly. Very importantly, we have endeavored to use the loans to finance critical development projects and programs aimed at improving our economic environment and ensuring effective delivery of public services to our people.
Although details on the budgetary allocation to MDAs are yet to be made public, President Buhari gave a hint that defense and internal security will continue to be accorded his administration's top priority.
We remain firmly committed to the security of life, property, and investment nationwide. We will continue to ensure that our gallant men and women in the armed forces, police, and paramilitary units are properly equipped and well motivated. The 2022 budget is also the first in our history where MDAs were clearly advised on gender-responsive budgeting. These are part of critical steps in our efforts to distribute resources fairly and reach vulnerable groups in our society.
President Buhari used the opportunity to appreciate the immense patriotic and collaborative support of the National Assembly to the government efforts at delivering socio-economic development and democracy dividends to Nigerians.
I wish to assure you of the strong commitment of the executive to strengthen the relationship with the National Assembly. Nigeria is currently emerging from a very difficult economic challenge. We must continue to cooperate and ensure that our actions are aimed at accelerating the pace of economic recovery so that we can achieve economic prosperity and deliver on our promises to Nigerian people.
The president once again thanked the lawmakers for the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act and hoped that the implementation of the new law will boost confidence in the nation's economy and attract substantial investments in the sector.
The National Assembly says it will keep the promise of ensuring the passage of the 2022 appropriation bill before the end of the year to sustain the January to December budget cycle.
The 2021 budget was laid on the 8th of October. That of 2022 came a day earlier. This trajectory enables full implementation of budgets like that of 2022, which since the Fourth Republic made history as the first to be fully implemented, bringing about economic growth despite recession to the benefit of citizens.
Unlike many other countries, Nigeria was able to come out of the recession due to the ability of this administration to deploy the resources to support the economy. Mr. President, the second quarter GDP report released by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, Nigeria's gross domestic product GDP increased by 5.01% in the second quarter of 2021. The strongest growth since first quarter of 2014 is a trajectory that we need to sustain.
Ensuring greater fidelity to the letter and spirit of our appropriation laws have led to the measurable improvements in public infrastructure, access to education and housing, healthcare, and transportation, among other things.
The National Assembly leadership called attention on the need to put more efforts on key areas for improvements.
The 2021 budget and indeed the 2020 budget provided for significant infrastructure development across the country. It is imperative that we prioritize the completion of ongoing projects on the development of infrastructure in our country. The 2022 budget should target at completion and consolidation of the projects already started.
Today, innovations in technology, the changing nature of global trade, the challenges of cross-border insecurity, and the increasing interdependence of nations, each and together, continue to present challenges we must overcome and opportunities we must embrace.
Ministries, departments, and agencies of government were also issued words of warning to sustain achievements so far recorded.
Recent position taken by the legislature and the executive arms of government to insist on zero allocation to MDS that failed to remit their revenues for the 2022 appropriation. This saw an increase in the contribution of MDS by over 400 billion. It is my view that MDS can contribute to the Federation account much more than that.
We will demand a thorough accounting for the funds previously appropriated, disbursed, and expended. And we will take steps to hold to account those who fail to provide the records we need to make informed decisions on the appropriation bill.
The National Assembly will in the coming weeks be engaged in the scrutiny of the proposal to ensure the delivery of a near-perfect document.
Our first discussion on the program is with Honorable Sam Onuigbo, member representing Ikwana Umaya, North Umaya, South Federal Constituency of Abia State. Honorable Onuigbo says there are exciting components in the 2022 budget proposal.
As a matter of fact, I think it's a good news and a good development for the entire nation, in that the highlights or the critical areas that Mr. President focused on, if you do a little breakdown of the budget, the area of defense and internal security. Of course, you know, if you're talking about budget of growth and sustainability, if you don't have internal security, if you don't have defense for people to move around, and be able to do their job in line with the provisions of Section 214B of the Constitution that talks about the primary purpose of government being securing the people and ensuring they have enjoyed their welfare. So internal security was actually the area that attracted my attention because of the challenges we have had in the country, with banditry, terrorists, and all that. So I was really, really impressed with that. Again, another area is the issue of gender responsive budgeting, because for Mr. President to come out there during the joint session to say, look, we are encouraging or directing all these MDAs to ensure that their provisions in the budget, capture that aspect of gender sensitivity. It's something very positive, because you know that we have a lot of women, and we're also talking about the youth, but you know that without actually mobilizing the women to be part of what is going on in the country, then you are perhaps moving on one side. But with this, I think I feel very, very encouraged. Another area actually that really, really caught my attention is talking about personal costs, and pensions. A whopping sum of money, about 14.6 trillion, was set aside for that. The reason being why it is very important to me is, well, one, if you say you want to rebuild, to ensure you attain growth and sustainability, you should be able to pay people their salaries. But more importantly, some of us were troubled last time we saw retired police officers, marching around because their pensions were not paid. And it's not just restricted to police officers. We have similar problems also in the state. I know this is a national budget, but you have to do things that motivate young people, those who are working, to ensure that they believe that their future is protected. So these areas actually, caught my fancy, and I believe that after COVID, having this kind of budget to rebuild together, to ensure growth and sustainability, I think Mr. President deserves to be applauded. I recall that when this administration started in 2015, the first budget came somewhere around either the 22nd or 23rd. It was absolutely delayed, of December. Then in 2016, the budget came on the 14th of December. And moving downwards progressively, we've now come to a point where the budget comes in around the 7th, the 8th, the 10th of October. It's a major milestone for this administration. And again, Mr. President deserves to be commended. On our own part, we have really demonstrated that we are actually in sync with the idea of ensuring that budget runs from January to December. And of course, you can see the impact. The impact is real, it's positive, and that's why a lot of those projects that are ongoing, particularly infrastructural projects, some of them are actually receiving attention. And of course, you need to build these things to be able to create the enabling environment for investment to pour in.
Moving on now, a new group within the All Progressives Congress, known as the All Progressives Congress Rebirth, says it is mobilizing support to protect, preserve, and propagate the progressives ideology of the All Progressives Congress.
Nigeria's democracy in the current Fourth Republic is more than 2 decades old, and the 80-year-old All Progressives Congress has spent barely 6 years in control of the government at the center. In this time, political analysts believe the party has initiated progressive collaborations both at home and abroad. The Palestinian ambassador led a 5-member delegation to the Buhari.
All right, that's the meeting of Palestinian ambassador to Nigeria, to the APC headquarters. But we're talking about progressive rebirth, and joining us is Abubakar Siddiq Usman, a member of the APC Rebirth group. Now, we saw you during the week. We were talking about, new initiatives within the party. Now, what informed this group?
Thank you very much. We have been taking stock of what has been going on in the party. We take a look back to, since the party was formed in 2013, the ideologies, the principles that were propounded, and we took stock of what we have, how far we have come from that time till now. And we realize that we have deviated a whole lot from the very principles upon which the party was formed. And we come to the conclusion that if we continue in the way we are going about now, we may not have a party in the future. And we don't want a situation like that because we are part and parcel of this party. It is our future. And we want to ensure that, we have a party that will call our own tomorrow. That is why we have decided to come out to, call for a situation where we'll go back to what APC was when it was founded, so that every member is guaranteed of an APC of tomorrow.
The Rebirth group, tell me about the makeup in terms of the members of this party. Is it across country? Is it about youths? And how did you get the membership?
Okay, like I said, we've been having discussions. These discussions across different people led us into, let's sit down and have a critical look at, what is on ground. And of course, a few of us, it started from a few of us, and then we decided, before anything else, let's talk to some other persons as well. In the past few weeks, we've been having consultations with a couple of persons that we believe actually share in the ideas of what the APC should be. And as an outcome of that discussions that we have been having, we decided it's time for us to voice out and let the people know that the APC that we have of today is not the APC that was envisioned by the founding fathers.
If you come with this strong, can I say, standpoint, there will also be naysayers that why upset the apple cart? Are you having such, perhaps pushback in terms of, you want some changes? Others are saying status quo is also equally okay.
Well, it is natural for people who are enjoying what is currently happening to want to continue to have the status quo. But our concern is the persons who are enjoying it today, they will not always remain where they are now. Tomorrow they will be somewhere else. Some other persons will take their position. But we are saying that if we follow principles, if there's a level playing field, you don't have to be positioned, you don't have to be privileged before you enjoy being a member of APC, because everything will flow naturally. You don't have to belong to, of course, there's no crime in belonging to blocks or groups within the party, but you really don't have to, your success of being a member will not be predicated on the fact that you are aligned with certain groups or certain persons.
So party doctrine and tenets will hold through. But I will come for the last line, but let's quickly take this just happening today, just weeks to the November 6th Anambra State governorship election. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has met with leaders of political parties to discuss crucial issues to aid the conduct of a smooth exercise.
An aerial view tells the beauty of Anambra State, but unwanted sound was heard on the 23rd of May 2021. Then on the 3rd of October, another dark day in Oka, Anambra State. DSS, Federal Road Safety Corps and private home were attacked. A state counting down to an election.
Anambra State is not in the usual election mood.
Truly not in an election mood. But Mahmood is activating the mood. Met with security agencies 3 days ago, today with the political parties. A brief on the efforts to provide safe environment, then an update on the voters' registration. More than 62,000 double registrations discovered, so they are cancelled. 77,475 new voters recorded, bringing the total number of voters in Anambra State to more than 2.5 million.
In May this year, our state office in Oka was attacked. I am glad to report that we are fully recovered from that attack. All non-sensitive materials have either been procured afresh or sourced from neighboring states and our zonal stores.
It is remarkable that it be restated that these inimical distractions are perpetrated by non-state actors and criminal elements and not specifically political party candidates or its members.
Efforts to ensure peace for the election and even beyond still central to the Professor Mahmoud's agenda. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
All right, let's take one more story. The 94th National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party has adopted the National Convention Zoning Report, chaired by Governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, zoning the party's chairmanship position to the north.
There were chaotic scenes at the National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party this Thursday as members trudged the PDP Secretariat venue of the 94th NEC meeting. The NEC hall was filled to capacity with seats barely available for members who wanted to be part of the crucial decisions that were to be made, particularly on zoning of offices. This meeting is one of the most attended since the party lost power at the center in 2015, with party members, many of who had not been participating in its activities, saying they wanted to be present to contribute their views to the important decision-making process.
PDP is above any personal or individual or collective consideration. Our focus should first be our country, Nigeria. Every interest, please, personal or collective that is not for Nigeria should be set aside.
The People's Democratic Party has the right to determine its rules on how the party should be governed. The people of Nigeria also have the right to determine who governs them.
The party's National Publicity Secretary, Kola Olobodion, conveyed NEC final position.
Our NEC approved the zoning as presented, which, as you understand, the positions that are in the south will go to the north, and the positions that are in the north will go to the south.
The zone that will produce the PDP presidential candidate for the next election is yet to be decided.
All right, many thanks to Timothy Yusuf for that report. Before we go, we still have our guest, Abubakar Siddiq Usman, a member of the APC Rebirth group, still here with us. In terms of youth involvement in these processes as well as inclusion, would you at least give the party a pass mark, or is it still work in progress? Before we go, very quickly.
Yes, it's still a work in progress. We believe that, yes, as much as the party has been able to involve a lot of youths, we have millions of them, and part of the reason why the party cannot directly take care of everybody. But there are millions of youth out there, are thousands of youth out there who wants to, not just youths, I mean, every party member that wants to have a say in what goes on in the party, they want to contest. But of course, because you don't have that level playing field, some of them are staying back. Those who are bold enough to come out, they are getting all the disappointment that they do not expect to get as members of the party. And this is not what we want. That's why we are out for this.
All right, so we wish APC Rebirth the best, and perhaps we'll also bring you in subsequent programs to give us perhaps some modus operandi in terms of how you want to go about it across the country. That has been Political Update today. The focus has been the 2022 budget presentation and, of course, reactions from the legislators and experts as well. My name is Fisayo Ogunfuyi, host for this program, Political Updates, NTA's eclectic political ensemble with its eye on every political pie. My name is, and of course, we also urge you to be back on the program on Tuesday, where we give you a better, brighter package. Don't forget, play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.